All I'm saying is that what happens inside your head is the real world. So it's your job to control what happens inside your head, because that is the world that you need to control.
If you say that whatever's in your head, please make sure that light's green.
Yeah, man.
That's green. Whatever is in your head is what's reality. Then that's just your specific perception of reality.
Okay, but no. Like, that's just too easy. What? Okay, so one of the main questions I always get when people find out about my life is, how the fuck did you handle doing 10 years in fucking jail and not go crazy, become a drug addict?
Facts.
And all these things? Because the secret to doing time is not to live in the prison, to live in your head. So to get through any kind of shitty situation in life, you have to be in your head at all times. That's what protects you from... Look at these guys who are in maximum security prisons. Like, when I say max, I don't mean you get to go on the yard once a day. I mean maybe once a week.
Like you don't see light.
You get out for a shower.
Yeah.
You walk around in a box with a skylight for 20 minutes, and then you're back in your cell for 23 hours. And there's people like motherfucking Unabomber, El Chapo, right? These motherfuckers are in max security.
Mm-hmm.
And the trick of the system is to make them go fucking bonkers, because they want to see these guys go crazy, because then they can see this great fall from grace of these guys. They thought they were hot shit. Now you're sitting in a cell wasting
like
away.
Spiteful punishment.
Yeah, dude, it's true. It's how it is, right? And so, the trick to beat all that is to be in your head. And that's where, if you're lucky enough in life to have an imagination and be creative, you can survive prison.
Okay, but then where do you separate delusion? Because, like, I think what ends up happening is people have false sense of belief of what they are and what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And if you live in your head that way, then you essentially are creating a false reality of something that you're not.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole different story, though. Like, that's not living in reality. So, when they always say, living in reality, it's like reality in your head. Like, here's the thing, man. We all know who we are. Deep down inside, you lock yourself into a little room. You know who you are. You know all the weird shit about yourself. You know all the dirty shit you do to yourself, right? Right? You know it. You know, when it's just like when you're alone in a room with the person you love, the woman who is, classy and, beautiful and, so smart and so elegant on the streets, but then she's just a dirty freak in the bedroom, right? Only you two know that.
Shout out to all of you, by the way.
Right? Only you two know that, right? It's the secrets that we hold, right, in the dark. It's the same in your head. You have these things that you have to be honest with yourself about. And the thing is like, a lot of people aren't honest about who they are because they're so focused on this outer world, the beautiful signs and the fucking Jordans and, all this shit that doesn't matter. Yeah, I got some Jordans too today, right? All this shit that doesn't matter. What matters is how real you're being in your real world, which is your head. And that's when people go crazy because they're not being honest.
So people obviously perceive themselves one way, even though they have all this darkness and this stuff that they would never expose to people out of fear of being ridiculed or hated. So do you think that general public just doesn't like themselves? Do you think that's a regular sentiment? Or do you think people...
You need to be trained.
Or do you think people can just overlook their shit?
The one thing we should be training our kids to do, and this is true, man, that you want to train your kid, lock him in his fucking room growing up with art supplies.
I see.
Things to create.
Outlets.
No fucking TV. No goddamn fucking video games. Right?
Yeah.
None of this stuff.
That
you
hindsight.
need to lock them down and say, guess what? A couple hours a day, I'm going to fucking lock you in your room and you're going to create something. And if you want to get out of there, you know, I want you to be creative and do something.
And do something about it.
That forceful it's like the guy that's forced to do piano at a young age. Like, ding, 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 right? Ding, ding. If they love it, they become artists. You know what I mean? But if they don't like it, they become fucking psychos, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you got to train your kid to get to know himself. And I think being alone and being away from other people is the training. You got to know how to be by yourself and in your head.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting way to problem solve, at least, because essentially you have to come up with solutions for yourself on the spot, and you become resourceful that way.
Yeah.
But then it's going to affect or inhibit your behavior around people.
Maybe, but it doesn't matter. Your behavior around people is overrated. It's overrated, dude. You don't need friends. You don't need them. Why do you need friends? You barely need family.
Facts. Yeah, I can agree. So the want, not the need, the want.
It's the want.
Yeah. So you were saying that the need to exist is more important than your want to have people around you.
Yeah, I think that the more that you can train yourself to not want anything in life, the better off you're going to be.
Damn.
And that's a hard thing to do because
it's huge.
Because if you live outside of your head in the world, the wants take over.
Yeah.
The desire to be somebody and to be accepted, which they say is the number one human, you know, thing is to be accepted. That's the number one thing that we want, the trait we want, right? Is to be accepted by others. But what a fucking eerie proposition that is. All I want is to be accepted by others. Like, when you say it like that, it sounds stupid. Why don't you just be accepted by yourself? You know?
Damn.
I quit smoking weed 4 months ago.
4 months, eh?
It's been 4 months.
Wow.
And my biggest concern with smoking weed was, what am I going to do with my friends? Straight up. I'm like, all my friends smoke weed.
Yeah.
Or drink beer.
Huh.
What am I going to do? Like, straight up. This is fucking truthful. Like,
damn.
What am I going to do, man? My homie over here smokes weed.
Yeah.
We take weed out of it. It's kind of like a missing piece of the puzzle, eh? It's weird.
You know, maybe the first 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. Now it's just whatever.
But after that, I was like, oh, nothing's
Whatever.
Nothing
Now you're
is
smoking joints on your own.
Nothing is different.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, for me, I'm okay being by myself. I'm okay with solitude. I actually kind of enjoy it.
Yeah. It's powerful.
Yeah. Like, I really take the time to, like, think through things, and I think it's really important. And obviously, the cannabis helps as well.
Yeah.
But
it's important, man. It's the most kids. If you're listening out there right now, put down your fucking studying. Stop studying. Put down your controller. You're just listening to old men talk as you play video games. Put it down. The best thing that you can do in your life is to be alone. Is to master the art of being alone.
But it feels so good to have people around.
Yeah, it's false though. It's not real.
Okay, what about laughter?
What about it?
You laugh.
Mm-hmm.
You laugh by yourself.
Okay, let's go even deeper.
Okay.
Who's the funniest person on the planet to you? Who do you consider the funniest person on the planet?
That's hard.
You can have 2 or 3, but let's say just...
Okay, let's say I'd probably say alive right now. One of the tops is Cat Williams.
Cat Williams, right? And what did he do?
He fucking went nuts.
Yeah, but what was his job?
Stand-up comic.
And who did he do it with?
By himself.
By himself, yeah. And who did he write his jokes with? Probably by himself. Right? So the funniest people on the planet have mastered the art of being alone. Because if you're around other people, you kind of glean some comedy and some funny things, but you don't dig deep into what is truly funny, right? It's kind of like the guy that has the same jokes. We know guys like this, right? They show up in a party, hey, got the same jokes, hey, right?
Facts.
Right? You know those guys. They got
100%.
the same shit they say all the time because they're around people, but get them alone, they're the most fucking shallow, empty, self-conscious. Like, they have so many issues because they're so much better around other people and they're funnier. But get them alone to have a conversation or whatever, there's nothing there, man.
Okay, but where does love play into this whole...
Love yourself.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You can love yourself.
Yeah.
But let's just say Mike has the magic wand to create this vision of the world. where everyone is essentially an isolationist.
Yeah.
Where's love?
Well, I think this kind of is a different concept because love really you can get anywhere. Now,
True.
no, but here's the thing. If you expect love to make you happy, you're going to be very disappointed
Facts.
because love will let you down faster than anything else.
Facts.
The only love that matters is the love you create inside of your head. Because there's nothing physical or metaphysical, whatever, in the world that will make you happy than what you create inside your own head. Dude.
Damn.
If you think about it, right?
That's
True
deep, man.
happiness comes from understanding who you are.
Yeah.
And being like, I don't need to smoke weed to hang out with my friends. I stressed about it.
Yeah.
How are my friends going to accept me? What the fuck was I thinking?
Wow.
But that was what entered my head, dude.
Yeah.
What's my friends going to think? It's just like the life of crime. Every fucking person I grew up with was a criminal. Every single person I knew. If you weren't a criminal, I never hung out with you.
Shit.
I maybe had one or two friends that were dabbling on the edge of it. Didn't really go hardcore like me. I was
enough for
the
some
ultimate
cred.
hardcore. Yeah, but I was there enough. And for me, it was a little bit of corrupting them. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? So,
I know dudes like
but getting out of the criminal world,
yeah.
I had to acknowledge the fact that, my associations were what were dragging me down. And not because they were influencing me. It's because I wasn't able to be myself, right? I wasn't able to all that time in jail allowed me to, create this idea of who I was. Right. And then when I got out of jail and I was so confident when I got out, I was so confident, man. I was like, dude, I'm going to hit the streets running. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I hit the streets and who I knew as myself was smashed to the ground and broken into 1,000 pieces because of the pressure of the outside world. And that this person that I was didn't match and didn't fit. And so it killed me. It literally sent me into deep depression because I got so wrapped up in this outside world and everything I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
That I lost the biggest part of it. I lost myself. Right? It took me 5-6 years to get it back.
Here's what I always wondered, because I grew up with a ton of people that were involved in the street life and either passed because of it or in jail because of it. When you're in the life, when you're at your peak earning potential,
Finest moment.
you feel untouchable, the world's just here for you to take. Is there a part of you inside that you can recall looking back at it that was remorseful, regretful at the moment?
Oh, big time.
So even in the moment of the chase and the success, you still feel the guilt.
Yeah, like I'm a conscious being and I've always have been. I just ignored it. And, the fact that I chose the game over my own daughter really has haunted me my entire life.
Damn.
The fact I don't have a relationship with her and that, it's there. But I that has haunted me my entire life. Right? Because I denied myself a chance to be a father and I denied my daughter a chance to have a dad.
Yeah.
Right? She's a good girl. Follow her on Instagram. Right. And, once in a while we exchange pleasantries. Right. And
small talk stuff.
Yeah, it's bullshit. But that was the part that killed me all the time. And anytime I had just a down moment, it sucks. Like even dealing with junkies. Right. Dealing with crackheads back in the day.
Damn.
It'd be like,
that's fucked up.
Wait, I've killed so many people.
Yeah.
Like,
indirectly.
No, directly. I've sold people drugs who have died, in my life. And that shit haunts you. The fact that I sold somebody drugs and then I hit them up the next day and they're dead because of the drugs I sold and they overdosed. That's happened to me probably a dozen times.
Shit.
I have a dozen murders on my fucking name that they're going to catch me in the next life. You know what I mean? And that shit, at the time, you just think fucking junkie, dumbass junkie.
Yeah,
you shouldn't have done it. But then you stand back. And even back then when I was a young man, right? 20 years old. I'm like, fuck, I sold him that drugs, man. Like,
dude, this is so important for people to hear, man. Like, I know for people that are listening, it's hard to sympathize with, the whole idea, well, you chose to be a criminal. But at the same time, circumstances lead people in directions that they never imagined.
Oh, you never imagine it.
And when you get there, you don't really have the wherewithal to be like, okay, I'm fucking up. I'm gonna fix this.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're so caught up. Like, imagine going from the earnings of that to having to be like, okay, I'm gonna go straight and work a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And make at that time fucking $6.50 an hour.
Yeah.
There would have been no way in hell you would have been able to walk away from just the financial part of it.
Yeah.
And I know people that have been in the same situation. I'm like, yo, this guy is such a caring person. He's so kind, so loving.
Yeah.
How the fuck can he do this part of it?
Yeah.
So I think it's important for people to hear that even through all of from the outside looking in, oh, he's just living life.
Yeah.
There's some real fucking darkness.
And there's some people who don't. And
Right.
these are the people, like, it's funny because the people who get out of that life live in their head. They are conscious and they have an out plan, or they feel bad for people. Like,
Yeah.
I've known a lot of those people, right?
Mhm. There's some heart there still.
There's some heart there, and there's some people who are just cold-hearted, people, man.
Yeah.
That
Don't give a fuck.
don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I met some of
Will
those.
purposely
for sure.
kill people. Like, there are people that purposely kill people, like spike their drugs just to fucking kill people.
Yeah.
Like, that's a reality, man. Those people, and you know what? Those ones that I know that did that kind of shit, they're all dead. They all died. They got theirs. I got mine kind of too. I had to do 10 years.
That's a
in my
long
prime.
fucking time.
I had to do my whole 20s. So,
Original charge is 20?
No. Like, I did all of my 20s.
Oh,
right?
shit.
So it's like, that was my karma.
Oof.
That was my payback, was that, and then I got out and everything was over for me, so I had to start this fresh. But living and getting to know myself inside of a prison, I would advise anybody go to jail. I would say, if you have an opportunity to go to prison or a mental hospital,
As a test.
yes, go
Don't
and do it.
commit a crime.
Don't do it. Don't commit a crime unless you have to go there, right? But do it, because it'll be the greatest lesson that you will ever learn about yourself.
Holy shit, dude. That is heavy.
Am I? Can you look on the board? Am I spiking by any chance? Just see if my thing is moving. Check 1, 2. Is it moving? We're doing the old-fashioned check.
Which one are you?
I'm probably number 3.
Not spiking.
I'm not. But is it moving?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's
Yeah.
good enough.
Yeah.
See, and like, I mean, you have kids, and your kids are quite literally in the hardest generation, I think, that we've had. I really believe
As
that
far as the world they're living in?
this generation Z, Millennium Z,
Is that what they're called?
yeah, this is Z generation. Fucking running out of letters, man. I don't know how it went from Gen X to, it went from where's Generation Y?
Isn't there a Y?
I don't think so. I think it went Gen X, millennials, and then
Z.
Z. And they fucking skipped Y. Why ask why?
Well, it's so weird because I talked to a lot of kids, a lot of like kids between the age of like 12 and mid 20s. And there's a lot of dread about the future.
This is the worst generation.
I don't think I've ever seen a generation of young people that don't have the ability to be careless.
Yeah.
Like when I say careless, I mean actually free.
Yeah. So many rules.
And I think the thing that people aren't getting is like, when we enable social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you enable your kids to have, there's news that they're going to see of shit that's happening in the world that when we were kids, we would never have had access to. You wouldn't see bloodshed on CTV News or ABC News.
Never.
You wouldn't see direct bloodshed and people getting murdered. You wouldn't see those things. You knew it was happening if you had parents that taught you, but you wouldn't physically see it. But when you enable social media, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, all these things, dude, there's some horrible shit out there, man. Horrible mass shootings that happen, horrible rapes and beatings and murder. And when kids witness this, it almost inhabits them. Like it changes their demeanor.
It totally does.
And we didn't start to experience that when we were, I would say, old enough to understand how impactful it was. Like what slavery meant and the violence that took place there. Things like that we didn't understand until we got to like maybe our early 20s, mid-teens. At least later in life. But these kids are getting it at the age 11, 12, 13, 14.
So young, man.
And they don't know how to take it in.
Yeah, they don't.
So there's
And
a
you
lot
can't
of
teach
like,
that.
there's a lot of dread. And the thing is like, I have a lot of conversations with my kids. I am the parent that talks. And I want understanding. I want communication and I want understanding. We'll start here. Let's talk through it. And by the end of the conversation, I want to understand you better, and I want you to understand me better.
Yeah.
That's my whole goal as a parent. And I know sometimes, my kids roll their eyes, like, oh, fuck, here we go. But
Gotta
at
do
the
it.
end of the conversation, they'll understand why we had the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's so important for parents to do this with their kids, even if you're not like, a lot of parents aren't equipped to have these deep, intense, really like penetrate your thinking conversations. They're just not equipped to have these conversations. They were never taught, or they don't care, or their life's too stressful, or they're too busy. But you absolutely have to find a way to have space and time with your kids where you just understand what they're experiencing and feeling.
Yeah.
And it's gonna suck because you're gonna hear shit you don't like. But as a parent, that's your job.
Yeah.
Right? Like my daughter always tells me, like, she's the one that challenges the parenting, right? I'd be like, we give you this great life, we give you this, we give you all these wonderful things. It's your responsibility to do your part of upholding whatever that is. And her comeback is, well, I didn't ask to be here. I'm like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, that's true, eh?
But it's true. She's like, I didn't ask to be born.
That's deep.
You had me, so you have to give me a life. But then I make sure I emphasize that, it's our job to give you a life. Yeah. It's not our job to give you a great life.
Yeah.
My job is just to make sure you're fed and you're clothed and you have a home. But we give you a great life. Like we do.
We go over and above.
We go above and beyond.
Yeah, you guys are pretty good.
As parents, we want you to have everything. So that's where we make the distinction. Like, we could be parents just like your friends' parents. Like, would you rather have us like that? Yeah. And then she gets it. She's like, fuck.
Dude, I remember like growing up, there was very few. Well, see, this is what these kids won't know, but we grew up in juvie time. So back when I was growing up, there were juvenile detention centers, and there were about 17 to 20 of them in British Columbia.
Damn.
Growing up. This is the 80s and the 90s.
And it would accommodate up to age what?
Right up to 18, 17, 18. As soon as you hit that mark, you were going to adult. That was the big threat then, right? But they had those everywhere. And, these kids were different. We were kind of cavemanish in a weird way. Like we were
not refined or
we're not refined or anything. And now there's zero juvies in today's world. There's zero.
Do you know when that changed? When they cut those
when
out?
they started introducing the pink ribbon bullying, the pink shirts in school. So when they started teaching kids about bullying and about all that, it all stopped. They shut down juvies.
Wow.
There's one juvie now, and that's just for like bad kids, like
they're going to prison.
Yeah, like you kill somebody
enough.
or you rape somebody, or even if you rape someone now as a kid, you don't go to jail, juvie. They still try to deter you from it, right? It depends on your age, right? But
and your race.
Yeah, and your race, big time. And but now like something's changed with kids. Man. There's way more rules, and there's way more acknowledgement of punishment, and there's a lot of other things that you can do to kids besides send them to a kid jail. Like it's weird, man. Like back then, for example, smoking, right? So when you have your kid and you're in the 80s and you're like, oh, you have a smoke, you're like, fuck, if my parents find out I'm dead, I'm gonna have a smoke, right? Now these kids are vaping. Hey, they're vaping. They're like, whatever. Parents are like, are you vaping? You shouldn't do that, man. And kids are like, whatever. But it's weird because
it's so weird.
Because they
it's so weird.
But the kids won't elevate beyond that now. Like that's almost like drinking and maybe smoking some weed. It's like the worst thing that a kid will do now. But back in my day, it was like there were kids who were beating up taxi drivers, taking their money, right? Like I broke into 100 houses in the summer of 1990.
Whew.
Right? Summer of 1990, I broke into 100. I had a cake. We made, me and the guy we were breaking houses in, we made a cake from Dairy Queen, true story. And we wrote happy 100. And we broke into the house, boom, kicking the door, sat the cake in there. There was no phones and shit back then. We were just psycho fucking
no cameras anywhere.
No,
you could get away with any crime pretty much you wanted to, unless you're an idiot.
We trashed those people's house. We trashed their house.
Damn.
And ate the cake.
Ugh.
And left it. You know what I mean? And it was just like, what kind of kid is this? Like
fearless.
That kid today would be a TikTok superstar. You know what I mean? Like that would be like a TikTok, genius. But our kids, we were different back then.
Yeah.
The punishment was harsher. Kids were harsher.
Yeah.
Now it's like you've taught them. We've got to that step where it's like, okay, before you get all fucked up, we're going to teach you these lessons, right? And then in school, they would teach, like before it was like, go into the hallway, move your desk into the hallway. Now it's like, no, hands on. We're going to help the child. We're going to help them, put them in a program with all these other kids. Like I was in alternative schools in school. So
I remember those. Yeah.
I went to 17 schools by the age of 15. Okay, so figure that math. You good at math? Put down your homework, pick up a calculator. Right?
There were some schools where he was there the whole year.
I was kicked out of fucking kindergarten twice. My mom's like, who gets kicked out of kindergarten? This motherfucker right here.
Probably thought you were the devil.
Yeah, dude, I was bad. Like, it was crazy back then how bad you could actually be as a kid, and they just punish you. And now, that's all gone. So something's happened in the last 25 years.
Yeah, I think there's a few things, man. Like, okay, I'm a grown-ass man, and if I am at my parents' house and I want to smoke a cigar, I will not.
Yeah.
I will not.
Because the ridicule.
That's a part of it.
Judgment.
And yeah, and they're almost like, how dare you?
Yeah.
Now, I think what the part of the problem is that I got beat when I was a kid. My dad is a very, strict, angry disciplinarian. We got the belt. We got all that shit. Sorry, not we. Because I was the runt, the fucking middle child that wanted to do whatever I wanted to. We got that. Now, we hear a lot about breaking generational trauma and ending those kind of hereditary curses that get passed down from parenting. And I think a part of what's happened is we've gone so far. We so badly don't want to be our parents. We want to be so left of what our parents did to us because as adults, we know it fucked us up. But because we go so far left, we create this new kind of kid that's going to have to be brought back.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah. And now you talked about the school system, how they make all these accommodations and it's all about talking and anti-bullying. And I honestly, I like that stuff if there was a balance. And the balance has to be on the parents to make up the difference for the lack of, this sounds horrible, but for the lack of bullying, right?
Oh, yeah. No, but weirdly, yes, I know.
Because you don't develop that different kind of strength.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I know it's hard for this generation to understand, why would you want someone to get bullied? I don't want someone to get bullied. But to make up for that adversity that you face, the parents have to be the ones to kind of find ways to make you overcome adversity. Whether it's putting you in sports or at an early age, making you an ass kicker on the field, putting you in martial arts, developing a confidence that way. Whatever it is to challenge your kind of like pillow soft world that we've built, there has to be something.
I agree, man. And this whole thing with the don't say gay thing that they have down in the States.
Texas?
Down in Florida.
Florida.
About, and they're talking about indoctrinating kids and stuff. And, I mean, that's a whole other thing to talk about. But that is a classic example of where we're going. Like, there's a lot of parents out there who don't give their kids a gender. It's say, we're going to give you the choice to choose
You'll
your
figure
gender.
it out, yeah.
And, I mean, dude, that's a kind of thing where it's gone the other direction. You know what I mean? And, back in my day, in our day, it was, you didn't have a choice. You got spanked for everything. Everything, dude. I remember once my dad, we had a dog. It was his dog. He's my stepdad, and we had a dog. And I kind of I hated that I did it. I tortured the dog a little bit. I fed it bottle caps, and I fucking did these things. And then one day my dad lost the plot. He's like, I've had enough. And he did everything to me that I did to the dog. Damn. Okay?
Oof.
And it taught me a lesson about loving animals.
Yeah.
And I'm an animal lover now because I saw from that punishment what I was doing to this dog. Yeah. Right? And to this cat.
You were able to find empathy because of having it done to you.
Yeah, and I remember like my uncle had a cat, and it would never come to me, and I didn't understand animals. And so I went to the bathroom one Christmas. The cat followed me in the bathroom, and I beat the shit out of it. And now I look back and think, what a fucking douche.
Because you're a cat guy.
I'm a cat guy now, and I love cats, and I have loved my cats.
Dude, you treat your cat like a fucking baby.
Dude, and it's because you need to learn that lesson. I needed it beaten into me. That's what it is. But for some reason now, that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Yeah. And kids aren't bad. They're actually good. And I don't know what happened.
The severity of bad is different.
The severity of bad is it?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So we never had kids walking into schools and shooting up their classes.
Nah, nobody would dare.
That didn't happen. Man.
No, hell
Ever.
no.
The worst kid that I remember growing up, he hit his mom over the head with a frying pan and killed her for the inheritance money.
Oof.
That was the worst thing I remember. And that was like
dark.
big news back in the 80s or whatever, right? Or the Rena Verk situation over in Victoria. Like
fucked up, man.
And those kids, you know what's fucked up with those kids? When they came into juvie, they thought it was hilarious.
They were not remorseful at all, man.
Not remorseful at all.
I remember, I have family members that are family friends of her family.
Yeah.
So when we were kids, I met her a few times,
Yeah.
Rena. And she's fucking just a kind,
Yeah.
harmless human being. So,
Right.
but
But
that'd
it's
be the separate.
But it's weird, man, because now, like, this just doesn't...
Well, I think it's a few things. I think religion's a part of it as well. I think religion not being in homes takes away the invisible landlord that occupies space in your brain. Like, when you're part of a religious family, when your parents are home, they're God. Whatever they say goes. When they're gone, God is God.
Yeah.
Because you're taught so often that to feel guilty for everything, that when your parents aren't home, if you're going to do something, you're like, oh, fuck. God's watching.
Yeah.
So you have this invisible precedent
Weird.
set.
Yeah.
That, oh, I'm not going to do it. God's there. But now, dude, no religion in anybody's home.
No.
I know a lot of parents.
Yeah.
None of them teach their kids religion. I like that. I'm not a fan of religion.
Yeah.
But I like that we're removing religion. Now you have to give your kids a conscience to act kindly regardless of who's around.
Yeah.
So even when the parental God is not there, their minds, they've already developed a conscience outside of having to fear God. But that's absent.
Yeah.
Right? And I think another thing is we've made so many of the heroes of our time into these broken, horrible people that it takes away the lore of like those great things to aspire to.
Do you think though, like, don't you want us, like me personally, I would rather my heroes be flawed.
Yeah.
I'd rather them not be fake. Like the whole Will Smith thing, you know, anybody who's looked up to Will Smith and thought he was just the cat's ass is now shattered.
Yeah.
Right? Remember, like, again, we talked about it, like, oh, we love Will. We hope he gets the Oscar, blah, blah, blah. And now our whole perception of the guy is shattered.
Well, it's unfair to them to do that. Like, they didn't ask to be built into these perfect people.
Yeah.
It's not like they came into Hollywood and be like, I want everyone to think I'm flawless. That wasn't their plan. But Hollywood is a machine that wants this image of its celebrities, which is so ridiculous. Like, Jennifer Lawrence is like one of the most sought after actresses. Superstar. Super talent.
Yeah.
But for like 3 years, she was Harvey Weinstein's it girl.
A slut.
She was the girl for him. And
Sorry, I probably should have said that.
I mean, in Harvey's mind, that's what she was.
She was.
And during that period of time, she had phenomenal success.
Yeah.
Massive movies, big money, one of the highest paid female actresses that existed.
Now.
But she has this piece of her that's there.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really talk about it.
Yeah.
People very easily hide it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a part of it's obviously because she's white, blonde, blue-eyed.
Yeah.
That all
White
helps.
trash.
That all keeps the image.
Came from a motorhome.
Well, I mean, which is why Woody Allen gets a pass because he's
yeah,
white,
Woody, yeah.
right? There's a lot of these people that get a pass because of what they look like. But for Black Hollywood, for people that have ethnic, any kind of ethnic makeup, like Aziz Ansari and that whole date that went wrong story, you hear about that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that story, which is really not a story, it's just a fucking awkward date that ended up really poorly. He didn't rape her. He didn't force her to do anything she didn't want to do. The whole thing was just really uncomfortable. And he's an awkward guy. So it makes sense. He's not good around girls. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Sometimes you're just not good around girls.
But I also think it's not really race. Like, and I've thought about this often.
Okay.
Right? And it's too easy to say white privilege, and it's too easy to say that it's because someone's a different ethnic. I think it's the time. I think as we bring it back to where we were originally saying, it's our time. It's the time of life, right? It's the exposure, the amount of exposure that is out there for people. Woody Allen back in those days, and the girl that he was with was his stepdaughter. So it wasn't his blood, right? It was just his stepdaughter. And
that he groomed.
But for the time, that wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that's the fucked up thing that we always forget.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how slavery at its time wasn't wrong.
It was acceptable.
Yeah, it was acceptable, but
Yeah.
there wasn't like people walking around, during the
Celebrating
times
it.
of slavery. Yeah, like number one draft pick, slave,
Yeah.
slave, right? Like
Yeah.
if back in those times, it was okay. There came a time when people started to evolve and started to realize, oh, wait a minute, these people are people. Like, there are white people that had conversations with black people and said, this guy's actually kind of smart. You know what I mean? Like, he's not just some dumb guy off a boat who's, sleeping in a shack. Like,
Yep.
it's like, so as we evolved as humans, then things started not to become okay. And then that's why the real danger right now is the comedians. The comedians are in the target of being the next evolutionary thing that happens as human beings, is that we stop accepting comedy, right? Like, because we're getting to this point where race doesn't mean anything, dude. Like, I know
We're always going to disagree over here.
we're
but
always
that's
going
fine.
to disagree, but
fine.
race
We can still talk about it.
is easy for us to talk about because you grew up with racial issues.
Yeah.
But now it's not a race thing anymore. Now it's a person thing, right? We can cancel anybody. Now, it doesn't matter. White, black, Chinese, Mexican, anybody gets canceled. So it's more of an ethic issue.
So, okay. So I see a part of what you're saying, because there are people that victimize themselves and use race as the reason that they're victimized.
Yeah.
There are 100% there are.
Totally.
But as someone that is identifiable by their skin color, I see holes in the system that specifically affect people that look like me in ways where it doesn't affect white people. And even like the smallest examples, and it's so strange that we use Hollywood as the kind of the comparison, because it's the easiest way for people to understand. What's that dude's name that was in that movie? He was a hiker. He had to cut his arm off because he got trapped.
Oh, James Franco.
James Franco.
Yeah.
Not even admitted, was outed, trying to date
young
underage girls.
Yeah.
And this is like obvious, like text messages sent. The girl that got the messages from him outed him.
Yeah.
It's some pretty fucked up shit. He was trying to sleep with underage girls.
Oh, yeah.
He's still widely accepted in Hollywood.
Well, kind of. Not really.
I mean, they might side-eye him, but he still gets to work. He still makes movies.
Yeah.
Chris D'Elia, same thing.
Yeah.
Horrible shit
Real
with
horrible
underage girls.
Yeah.
Still to stand up.
Yeah.
There's really not much that can be said about their passes for some reason.
Yeah.
Will Smith fucked up big time. Yeah, he fucked up
Didn't have
big time.
sex with a young girl, though.
It's not that. Yeah, he didn't do that.
Like, think about this.
10
How many
years.
people of color are getting busted having sex with young girls.
R. Kelly. Kind of where it starts and ends.
Kind of where it starts and ends, yeah.
Not saying it doesn't happen, right?
Okay, but
But,
think
I
about
mean,
it. Nobody gets busted. Okay, growing up, do you remember pimps?
yeah,
Okay,
of course.
So most pimps in my life growing up were black,
Okay.
right?
I only know Indian ones, which is
Okay,
weird.
Even Indian pimps.
Which is weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
But those fucking guys got away with bloody murder, man. Those guys got away with shit that if pimps were around today, which they still are,
And yeah, some
in
areas.
a weird
yeah.
way,
Yeah.
then if it was exposed like that, then they would be fucking taken down, right? But people of color have been getting away with rape and misogyny and all this shit for decades and decades.
See, now here's I think this speaks to a bigger issue, the fact that as a society, we've built a society that hates women across the planet. Doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
We built a society that uses, abuses, and treats women horribly. And regardless of race, we've made it acceptable.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what race you are. It's okay to hate, beat, abuse, control, manipulate women.
Yeah.
And I think if that, I mean, let's just say statistically we look at it as just as a numbers game, the majority of offenders are white. And you can say that's because they're the largest percent of the population, but that shouldn't make them the largest percentage of offenders as well. So that's just saying that there's more of them that offend. So I think when you look at this harming of women, and lately especially, it's I've seen things that are just. There's a video that came out of Pakistan, I think it was like 2 months ago, of an activist that was just walking on the street, and she got caught in a situation of a couple of men harassing her and yelling and screaming at her. This is all in video. And then it turned into them pushing her and kicking her. Yeah. And then it goes from a group of guys to hundreds of guys. Hundreds of grown men that watch and participate in a woman getting beaten. And you tell me not fucking one man was ready to stop it? Yeah. Not one man is ready to step up and say, whoa, okay, you can yell at her, but let's not hit her.
No.
None of them?
Would have been toast.
That country's a fucking hole.
The worst.
Pakistan is one of the worst places on the planet for the way they treat women. Yeah. And across the planet, I mean, you could look at any country in the world. The treatment of women is fucking deplorable. It's brutal. So I think it's weird how, regardless of race, when it comes to mistreating women, it's normal. Yeah. No one cares.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just now, but even like when you look at young girls, like it's weird, man, because here we are in our 40s.
Yeah.
And if you ever look at TikTok, you feel like a dirty old man. Hey?
There's a lot of young people on there. You just got to set your filters.
Now you're over the limit of watching TikTok. When you go on there and there's these girls are fully developed, shaking it, showing it. And I'm like, where are the parents?
I know.
When you start asking where are the parents, you're old. You know what I mean? Like you're starting to get old. Yeah. And it's just a really weird thing. Like now being sexualized as a young girl is normal. Like it's normal.
It's almost like expected.
Even though I don't condone it, I understand when it happens with Chris D'Elia, and I understand when it happens with James Franco. And I understand that shit because in all, we're human. And like we said at the beginning, this fucked up need to be accepted. Yeah. Right? When you let that take over you and get into your life, then that's when you fall victim to all this shit. That's when you fall victim to the young girls slipping in your DMs and sending you titty shots, right? When they're 17 years old. It's fucking weird, man. I've had that happen to me. I had a girl, I was at a wedding, and the girl's like, oh, she was young. And she was just like, oh, yeah, can I follow you on Facebook at the time, right? I'm like, yeah, okay. And the fucking girl sent me pictures. And I'm like, dude, and I'm so anti any of that.
Block.
No, worse. I'm like Mr. Anti-rape, like, oh, you're a rapist? I'll befriend you and take you around the back and kick your fucking teeth in without you even, I won't even give you a fair fight.
Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Like I'm anti that 100%.
Yeah.
I fucking showed it to her parents. I sent all the pictures to her parents. I'm like, oh, by the way, your kid is sending me these pictures. You should fucking get on it. She's like, why did you do that? I'm like, because that's how shit goes. That's how you get raped in life, kid. You better learn your lesson. And the parents are like, oh my God, thank you so much for. But at the same time, I'm not going to get caught up in that ever.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Even blocking is not enough. Like I get a lot of Filipino prostitutes and, Asian prostitutes hitting me up. So many.
Yeah, well, because it's the older white men, that always take them down. Yeah.
And it's fucked up. Have you ever see that? When these girls send you things and then you look on there and you see someone that on there. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't gotten these, but I have seen some married men.
Yes.
And some questionable faces.
Friends, right? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And you can tell it's the girl because it's the XXO and the heart and the fucking, and then some weird series of letters and numbers. And you're like, prostitute or whatever this is.
Okay, a part of me does immortalize the greatest parts of my heroes. And because of that behavior, I want to live up to those same ideals that I feel they have. Mm-hmm. So men like Malcolm X, men like my grandfather, live by certain ideals. They weren't perfect by any means, but they live by certain ideals that I respect and I admire and I want to uphold. Yeah. I'm far from perfect, I'll never be perfect. I'm completely okay with that. But I want to set an example for other men
Like your
of
son.
like my son primarily of what I think men should be like.
Yeah.
And that is honoring women, not having to be the protector because women shouldn't need protection,
Yeah.
but to honor the life giver and create a society where they are the idea of harming them is not even a thought.
Yeah.
And we need to create men like this because there's not a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously a lot of great men out there. I don't want to make it a man-hating session.
Yeah.
But the majority of men in society don't treat women the way that they should.
Yeah.
And because I kind of keep these heroes in this glass case and I don't let anything interfere with my image of them, I feel like I'm always going to try and live up to that expectation.
Really good.
Yeah. And I try to model this behavior for my kid, and I see him and the way he is with his girlfriend, and the way he is with his mother, and the way he is with his sister, and it makes me feel fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Because I know at least one, I got it through to at least one of them. And for a long time, I lived this way, and I thought to myself, you know, no one gives a fuck. No one cares. So I stopped caring about how people feel about it and just live this way. Because I just assumed that no one cares. So why try to make it a thing that is publicly pronounced?
Yeah.
I'm just going to live it because that's how I should be living it anyways. And like recently, probably over the last like year, I've been getting messages from people, you know, kind of like talking about the things that I present and telling me that it inspires them, it motivates them.
That's cool.
And it kind of blows me away because I'm like, oh, people do give a shit.
Yeah.
I just think people are more comfortable now expressing it. And weirdly enough, I think it's because people are like starting to learn that me and Rosie are separated.
Yeah.
So that feels like they have an in now to communicate with me
Yeah,
in a way
yeah.
that's not offensive,
Yeah.
which is another weird thing.
Weird. Are you talking girls or boys?
Both, but
Both, eh?
more females,
Yeah.
which is weird to me because I'm like, you know, if I think someone's dope, whether I was married or now,
Yeah.
I'll tell them that they're dope.
Yeah.
I'll gladly
You're
share.
pretty good that way.
Yeah, I'll gladly share my feelings towards people because honestly, you know what it is, man? Like, there are people that I've lost over the years that should still be here. That I definitely didn't say the things that I wanted to say to
You
them.
weren't mature enough.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
Emotionally mature enough, confident enough to express it without feeling I was taking away from myself.
Yeah.
So now when I meet people that are dope, I fucking gladly give it up.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's important, man.
I think it's important.
People need to hear it.
Yeah, and this is another thing about, you know, living and being solid inside your own head is
Yeah.
the ability to do that.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
right,
Like when you live on the outside world, outside false reality world, you don't live up to that. You know, you don't have the ability to say what you mean and express yourself and express love, right? And you know, that's where again, loving yourself is the most important thing because if you can love yourself properly, then you can share that with other people.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you learn that in time, man. You know, these kids who are like all woke, you know, who think they're woke because, you know, they, you know, like the one that gets me, is the teenage kid that thinks they know everything about, you know, racism and, you know, how to make $1 million, like all these stupid things on how to live. And I'm like, dude, you're not even old enough to drive yet.
Never
You
even
think-
experienced life.
right?
Yeah.
Like you gotta give yourself time to be by yourself. Get off of social media and learn to be by yourself. And that's when you really develop the true skills that you need in life, right? You develop those skills. And you know what? Honestly, when you lose people, that's another thing. You know, being able to like really digest when you lose someone and, you know, be able to say that. Like, I wish I had the chance to say these things to someone, right?
Yeah.
Like, getting to that point in life is where you want to be. That's exactly where you want to be, man, in life, is being able to, you know, feel that you need to say things to people that are important. Right?
Yeah, and I mean it's weird because it's like obviously I don't want to die, but I think I've lived a life where now I am not really concerned about death. Like it wouldn't faze me in the least if I passed.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't feel it. You wouldn't even know.
Yeah, or let's say I got sick and I know I'm on my way to death.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even bother. Like, I hate saying that because it almost sounds like, oh, I want to die.
Well,
But
I don't know if that's completely honest. I think if you were close to death, you'd be like, fuck, I don't want to be close to death.
You think so?
I think that's just normal. If I'm sitting there dying from COVID in my bed, and like I was, months
Do you think it's
ago,
more the suffering of it?
yeah, like the slow, painful death, like
Yeah.
the Gilbert Godfrey way he went, like he slowly died and
R.I.P. Gilbert Godfrey.
it disappeared from the planet.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Yeah.
And all he had was looking back at Aladdin, Aflac, all these things that he did. He had to sit there and think about and contemplate it.
Yeah.
And he was probably happy. He lived a good life.
Yeah, he accomplished a lot for sure.
Just a total side. I know a side note where we're talking about Gilbert Godfrey. Remember when he did the 9/11 joke? That was like, do you ever remember that? So right after 9/11, he was doing stand-up. He was actually the first comic to joke about 9/11. That's his claim, one of his claims to fame.
Dark.
Right? So he said, and I was just watching the video. He was up on stage and he said, yeah, I'm trying to go to Los Angeles, but I can't catch a damn flight. Said every flight stops at the Empire State Building or the World Trade Center.
That's pretty good, Gilbert Godfrey.
It was good, right? He said the joke, and the whole crowd, you could see it went, right? He's like, what? Too soon? Right? He can't get a direct flight to LA because every flight stops at the World Trade Center.
That's so dark.
Right? I was like, genius, right?
Yeah,
Like
he
the genius
is.
to pull that off in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, never, he's a classic, man. He was
Yeah,
great.
yeah. R.I.P. Man. He was a great comic. He's kind of always be looked at as the guy with the voice, but he was a smart fucking comic.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he was great. He did another bad joke too. He did I can't remember the other one. He did another one. Just look up Gilbert Godfrey. Look over his shameful things that he's been on. And you know what? When you do that, like it's funny because when someone dies, they always are like, oh, he was amazing, this and that.
Yeah.
But I always like to look at the dirt because the dirt is really truly how that person was.
Yeah.
And you'll always remember Will for the slap. Even when he dies, you'll only remember Will for the snap. That's it. That's all that's ever going to happen. When Louis C.K. goes, it's always jerking off in plants or in front of fucking girls, right? Like that's just what you're going to remember, right?
So let's say maybe not get sick and die. Let's say just instant death.
Yeah.
If that were to happen, I mean, okay, so it's funny because I say if that were to happen, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, you'd be
but
dead.
you're like, because I know you're thinking you're dead, you're off.
You're done.
I'm not thinking off.
Okay, so you're hovering above your body.
I'm not even thinking that. I'm thinking whatever atomic energy leaves.
So there's a ball of energy.
Whatever that is, whatever that atomic energy that we can't see is that leaves the body, whatever that thing is, that thing is like, I'm good.
It wouldn't be thinking consciously like that. It's impossible. So you're telling me your ball of energy has a brain that's talking to itself?
Why do you think it's impossible?
Dude, it just is. It just is a fantasy.
Why though?
Because
what
it's never been
scientifically tells
proven.
you it's okay, but Wi-Fi is here,
Well, yeah, because you can prove it.
but you can't see it.
No, but you can prove that it works by getting it on your phone.
But you can prove you're alive.
You can't prove you're alive when you're dead.
But right now you can prove you're alive.
Yes, I prove I'm alive.
So what is the outside of the biology? You don't think there's anything else of you?
No.
Why do you have a personality then?
That's just that's just your brain at work. That's your brain.
So why don't we all have the same personalities?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know that question.
'Cause
I
I'm-
can't pretend I even know because
Because and the only reason I say this is because I feel like my kids are grown up. I've got to enjoy a lot of wonderful fucking experiences with them. I've had a pretty great fucking life so far. I've accomplished a lot of things I want to accomplish. Obviously, there's so much more I'd want to see, but if it all fucking ends, my atomic energy is like,
okay. So
Cool.
I personally think personality is a mental disorder. I think that how you are is a sickness.
oh, crazy.
Okay, I do. I think think about that. Okay,
I get it. I get it. Okay.
Okay, so
Expound.
once when I was in prison,
Mm-hmm.
this guy was telling me about how he jerks off, and I was like, oh, and he's told me this move that he has, where he ties a bed sheet or rope around his nuts and squeezes them, and then pulls it over his shoulder, pulls his nuts back, and then pulls over his shoulder and jerks. Right?
Oh shit!
So I tried it. Right? I tried it.
Okay.
And I was like, this is fucked up.
That's
I'm
pain.
never trying this again.
Yeah.
But the fact that I tried it was the mental illness part of my personality. Okay? And so that's why it leads me to believe, like, I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting.
Let's try
Just like
it.
I had sex with a towel. I had sex with a rolled up towel in jail.
Oh, yeah, okay.
All right?
In jail, okay.
Yeah, like the Fifi 2000.
Oh, damn.
Fucked up personality, man. It's a personality is a mental disorder. The perfectionist, the person that needs everything perfect. That personality is a mental disorder.
Yeah, for sure.
The person that, is vegan and doesn't want to hurt the animals and won't eat. Is that butter? Is that real butter? Right? Is that fake fur or real fur? You know what I mean? Like, that person is a mental fucking illness.
But that's part of you, though.
Dude. Yes, but I'm saying that these are all mental illnesses. These are personalities that are.
So you think we're just
crazy.
walking this planet ill?
Yeah. Listen, you're.
I hate to say it. There's a fucking lot of sense to that.
Yeah. It's an
So
affliction.
bizarre.
It's an affliction, right? And it's like it's in the personality disorders aren't really disordered. There are people who aren't mentally ill. So the personality issue, the people that don't have personalities are the ones that are normal. The ones we consider not normal are actually the normal ones, right? So you think about like alcoholism or drug addiction.
Yeah.
Is that you can't handle your mental illness.
So you numb
your
it.
personality, so you numb it.
Yeah, I could see that. I could totally see that. Yeah.
And then we look at the drug or alcohol person as like there's something wrong with you. No, man, that guy can't handle his mental illness.
So it's almost like his
personality.
We're just coping with being alive.
Yeah.
Because it's
survival.
so fucked up to be alive.
Everything that's alive on Earth is surviving.
Okay,
It's not thriving.
do you think that our understanding of being alive is what is fucking us up? Because obviously animals know they exist.
Yeah.
Not all of them have the profound depth of understanding that we do.
Yeah.
But do you think that's a part of why we're fucked up? Is because we know that we're here?
A lot of it, yeah. It's because we're
kinda fucked
conscious
up.
of it. That's why when it ends, that's why when you die, the peace is silence. It isn't on to the next world. Hey, everything's Vegas all the time. Beep, beep. It isn't, dude. The end is the end of suffering. It's the
Interesting.
silence,
That's very poetic. That's very poetic.
right?
Yeah, it really is.
That's why I don't
It really
believe
is.
it, because as I think about myself now, strapping my nutsack to a rope or having sex with a towel, I go, God damn, I'm suffering, man. I am suffering on this earth, right? And the only thing that is going to stop the suffering is silence. It's like when you go to sleep and you don't dream, that is the perfect sleep. When you dream,
It's chaos.
it's chaos.
It's
And then you
fucking
wake
chaos.
up, you're like, oh, grumpy,
Whoa,
or
what
you're
the fuck?
right? Or they're like, man, you know,
It's a
you
bad
can't-
movie.
You feel shitty. You can't. You're tired. But when you don't dream, it's perfect bliss. It's like because you're not thinking, you're not acting.
Dude, there's a real weird dark psychosis to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because I can totally relate to the understanding when you say it out loud. But none of that resonates in my head. None of it.
Yeah, I know.
In my mind, I see something completely different. I feel the spiritual. I feel the next. It's so nuts.
You're crazy.
Okay, off of the existential dread, because this has been quite the fucking depth. I'm gonna go as shallow as possible and talk about basketball.
Fuck yeah. And you want to talk about perfection?
Ooh.
Let's talk about a little gentleman, just a wee little man named Kyrie Irving.
That's a bad motherfucker, man.
Who, may I add, is in the middle of Ramadan at the moment. And
Praying on the sidelines.
Is playing like Michael Jordan.
Fucking amazing.
In the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, from what I saw today on this Tuesday, April 12th, from Kyrie Irving going 9 for 9, 10 for 10. I can't remember what he finished at, but he finished near perfect.
God mode.
I believe Brooklyn is going to go all the way. I
Damn.
just have this feeling when Kyrie's angry.
Yeah.
And he is dangerous when he's angry.
Well, you called Milwaukee last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you called Giannis in the Bucks last year.
But I'm going to say that Phoenix is going to beat them. I think Phoenix is the team to beat.
I think Phoenix is making a run to the finals.
Straight savage killers.
Yeah,
Booker
I think
and
they're
Paul.
very refined right now. Chris Paul is beyond his
It's
A
his
game.
time.
He's 36 and he's like playing at his best. Yeah, I think Kyrie and KD are fucking mad.
Yeah.
And they want to prove to everybody that you can't fuck with it. And that Cleveland team is no joke, man.
No.
That's a really good
That was a
Cleveland
great
team.
this year.
But dude, Kyrie is fucking amazing.
Unbelievable. And what's his name? The big guy?
Drummond?
Drummond?
Yep.
On fire, man.
Doing exactly what he needs to do.
Work the inside,
Yep.
right? There's
Yep.
too many small teams. Everyone's running gun and shooting.
Yeah,
threes,
I think Steve Nash has figured that out throughout the year.
right? Just get it down
Smash him
low
with Drummond.
and just dunk.
Yeah,
right?
because he's athletic too, right? He's not like, I mean, they have LaMarcus Aldridge on the bench. They have Blake Griffin on the bench.
Yeah.
LaMarcus is lights out, but they're both not athletic.
Yeah.
They're both very slow, plodding. They don't really have the legs to do
What
what
about Simmons? You think they should bring him in?
they're saying. End of first round, he'll be ready.
Fucking
Dude, it
disaster.
would be phenomenal.
If he just played defense and passed
That's
the
it.
ball and just played inside.
That's
don't
it.
Try to shoot.
He won't.
Like if his back if his back holds up and just plays down low,
Yeah.
they're gonna go all the way.
Dude, if they can bring Ben Simmons back into the first round, and let's just say he's healthy, because I mean, there's really no confirming information. Let's say he's healthy. He doesn't have to be the primary ball handler. He just has to run high pick and roll with Kyrie, because once Kyrie can dish the pocket or the lob, Ben's athletic enough to catch everything.
Yeah.
And KD can just kind of like step back a little bit and take over when he needs to. That's a bad fucking team right there, man.
Yeah, really bad.
I mean, Steph's coming back, so Golden State's going to be fine. I think they got a problem though with Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson.
Oh yeah.
Who is the guy you go to? Because Poole's playing amazing.
Yeah, it's just really, I don't know, man. That team to me just seems too perfect. Like it seems too.
They
like,
got all the pieces.
too many good things happening with
Yeah.
the team. Like there's
Yeah.
no, the thing is with the NBA playoffs, and like you look at a team like Phoenix who won 65 whatever games this year, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. They remind me of a San Antonio team. That if you remember
Right.
San Antonio, remember when
The
they won that
Tim Duncan
65
teams.
games or whatever?
Yeah.
That year, just before they won the championship, the year before that.
Oh, so this is just David Robinson.
This was no, because Tim didn't win in his first year; he won it in his second year,
Right.
right? So it was that year that David Robinson won the MVP and
Scoring title.
They went all the way, and then they lost in the I think they lost in the
Conference finals.
conference finals, right? I think
Yeah, I
they
think
lost
so.
to Phoenix or something, I think, that year. Anyways, they won like 65 games. They were like the last team to actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
But they won the next year. And this is what Phoenix is really reminding me of. Is the San Antonio team that's just on the verge, right? They made it to conference and now they're about to make it over that hump, right? I can just feel it, man. I feel like it's going to be Phoenix and Brooklyn. But
That'd be so cool. That'd be so cool.
Giannis Antetokounmpo
The Tecumbo.
is the next generation of superstar.
Okay, I have to disagree. I think he is very, very, very good. But he is stoppable. And I think the Raptors proved it. Obviously, he's gotten better since. But I think there's a way to stop him that makes the Bucks fail. I think Miami Heat knows it. I think the Heat knows how to control him. They've had a couple of games this season where they've dominated him. And you don't want to fuck with the Heat, man. Kyle Lowry,
Amazing.
Oladipo just scored 41 a couple games ago.
Yeah.
He found his groove. Jimmy Butler, obviously, is whatever he wants to.
Butler's savage in the playoffs.
Yeah, they got all the pieces. And Spoelstra's a brilliant coach.
Yeah.
I think people are sleeping on the Raptors, saying that the Sixers are going to dominate them.
No.
I don't see that happening.
trouble.
Nah, the Raptors are a problem, man. You don't want to
Raptors
play the
are great.
Raptors. Yeah.
They're just complete. From
Yeah,
front to
and Nick
back.
Nurse is one of the best coaches in the league by far. I think the Raptors are going to be a problem, but I really see the Heat, and I want to say the Raptors. I don't think that they're going to do it. I think the Nets and the Heat are conference finals in the East, and Phoenix, and dude, the West is such a toss up, man. There's
It's
so
really
many
just-
good teams.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know who I'm seeing. I mean,
Could be Ja. Memphis could make
they
a run,
could.
man.
I mean, they could.
Yeah,
I
Memphis
just
could
think
make a run.
Phoenix is just too complete. And the thing, just to go back to Akapatunko, you got to remember,
You're like Charles Barkley.
He had a 30% free throw, or what was it like?
It was low. It was below
low.
50.
And now
yeah.
he's doubled it from last year.
Gotten very good.
Right? Like, he doesn't take the whole happy birthday song to take a free throw anymore. You know what I mean?
He tightened it up.
He tightened it up, and he's been hitting it. He's like a 60%.
He's in the low
67%.
70s. Yeah. So here's where I think they fail. Antetokounmpo is a good three-point shooter, but he's not a reliable three-point shooter.
Yeah.
He's not a reliable 18-foot out shooter. And I think once you get a team that's coached by a Spoelstra or a Nick Nurse that knows how to plug the paint and doesn't allow Giannis to essentially take the ball up from inbounds and run full speed all the way up the court, I think Scotty Barnes is going to cause problems if they play each other.
Yeah,
I think a guy like Bam Adebayo is going to cause problems for Giannis once they cross half court.
Yeah.
As long as you don't let him get a running start
You gotta
into
stay
the
on
paint,
him.
you got to make sure that he's not the primary ball handler. Chris Middleton's great, but he's not going to be enough. I think there's too many threats in the East to knock him down. But I think it'll be fun to see him try.
Go to the Lakers? It's in the cards, man. I'm calling it right now here on High Phrase.
Damn.
He's going to the Lakers.
I mean, he didn't say a trade's out of the question.
No,
he never
gone.
said that.
He's the NBA has to now look at the post LeBron era. LeBron has one last shining moment, which is to play with his son.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be over. The curtain's closed for LeBron. Okay, it's over.
I see 2 more championships in his future.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
But I see him not doing it in LA. I see him.
You think he's going to go somewhere else?
Yeah, he's going to go to Cleveland with his son, and they're going to finish his career in
Oh,
Cleveland.
interesting.
LeBron is too predictable.
Interesting.
But I see Giannis going to LA. I see because the LA Lakers have missed 7 years now, or was it like 7 of the last 9 seasons they haven't made the playoffs?
Yeah. Since LeBron got there, it's been back-to-back seasons in the playoffs, 1 championship.
They had their worst season in
Pre-LeBron.
history.
Pre-LeBron.
This is their worst season ever.
This season right now. Yeah,
in the history of the Lakers. This was the worst one.
Yeah.
Right? And you think about this. Before, what was it? I saw the stat the other day. It was like before this season, or before the last 10 seasons, the Lakers have only ever missed 4 seasons of playoff basketball.
Damn.
Until this last 10, these last set.
So you're saying it's basically post Kobe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbelievable how fucking
2005.
shitty they are.
Yeah,
but the
really
thing
bad.
is, the Lakers are the world team. You know, you look at world teams.
They're NBA royalty. Yeah.
They're the world team.
Yeah.
You know, the Dallas Cowboys are the football
Right.
world team. The New York Yankees are the baseball world
Yep.
team. You know, hockey is...
Hockey have one?
hockey world team would be like...
That's a weird one.
it might be New York Rangers. It might be Montreal Canadiens.
Montreal
maybe.
kind of feels a little like it.
Probably Montreal's where it started, kind of, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, there's these world teams, and these world teams generally don't suck for very long.
Yeah. They have to keep them moving.
They have to keep, because it keeps the league hot.
And the merch is massive, and the revenue in the arena is all that matters.
Right?
So they got to make sure they're
they
successful.
need a superstar, and LeBron's not going to stay. I just have this.
Damn. Well, I mean, he didn't extend the contract.
No.
He had the opportunity to, and he didn't. But I mean, again, that obviously is dependent on what happens in the offseason. Like, the possibility of Damian Lillard becoming a Laker is big.
Amazing.
It's big.
Get rid of Anthony Davis.
You think AD should go?
Street clothes? Street clothes should go. Best nickname in basketball. Street clothes. He's got to go, man.
Damn. Oh, that's hard.
It's over for AD. That guy,
He's so broken.
he has so
broken.
many injuries. Have you
Dude.
seen his injury
The
chart?
game he came back, right? He just came back the last game. He got injured
He
again.
got injured. He's lucky he won a championship.
Yeah, he really is. He really is.
Holy shit, he's lucky he had
that was the
1 year.
healthiest he's been, and it resulted in the chip.
So you keep Westbrook, you get rid of AD, you keep LeBron, and you bring in Damian Lillard.
You keep Westbrook, eh?
Yeah, you keep Westbrook.
Damn.
See, if I'm the coach coming in there, I'm like, okay, Westbrook, here's what I want you to do. You're going to sit and become the next sixth man of the year.
Would never happen.
But
His contract's too big.
Him, I want you. You're gonna become 6 man of the year.
$45 million. Yeah.
But you're gonna sit here, and when I tap you, you're gonna go in and ball hog and just fucking drive to the net and score. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. All right, we're gonna set you up with picks and shit, and you're gonna go to the hoop, and you're gonna go there for a couple of minutes, 3-4 minutes, just hog the ball, go in there and frustrate teams, get into little skirmishes, talk trash to people, just be who you were.
Yeah.
The 50-point triple-double,
15 rebound, 20 assists. Now, okay, I think this is prime time for the Lakers to trade Westbrook in the offseason to a team that needs market share.
Like Hornets or...
Hornets are popping right now. LaMelo's brought them back from obscurity. But Detroit, Sacramento...
Fuck, just send them to...
The holes, like one of the holes. And I mean, Westbrook's not going to have a choice. But even back to OKC and pick talent off of them. Because I think those teams would rather have a bona fide star that's going to pack the arena, generate revenue, bring some excitement back, to offload some future.
Is he that good though? Like,
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I think he's still skilled enough to play great. But at the very least, people like watching him. Yeah, he's a fan favorite. People love Brody. Yeah. His jersey sells everywhere he goes. Like fans really fuck with Westbrook. Yeah. Analysts don't. Yeah. League experts don't. But fans love him because he's all heart, balls to the wall.
He plays hard.
Yeah, man. He plays like this last day he's going to play. For sure. So you send him to like a Detroit. You take Jeremy Grant out of that situation, bring him over, who can shoot threes in the 40% clip. Yeah. I mean, Detroit's not going to give up anybody like their draft, like their young core. Yeah. But you could send him to Detroit. You could send him back to Houston. You could pick some talent and at least get something for him.
It sucks because then he'll never win a championship.
Oh, he's doomed. He's doomed.
Never gonna win.
No.
With him. So
he won't accept the bench role. Yeah. So he's doomed.
It just sucks because if you're on a team and you see Westbrook come in, you're like, "Fuck, we're not gonna win this fucking championship."
Yeah, that's the vibe, and it's horrible that that's the vibe. But it's kind of the vibe. You know what the weird thing is? You brought up Charlotte. They seem to be the only team right now that's expressed interest in Westbrook.
Oh well.
But who would they give? Like they have Terry Rozier. I guess they could flip Rozier. That would help LeBron because at least Rozier can shoot. Yeah. And he doesn't expect to be the star when you're playing with LeBron.
Yeah, no, LeBron needs a superstar. He needs to be second banana superstar.
Damian Lillard, man. Yeah. Damian Lillard's the guy.
AD. Like AD just needs to retire and like take a couple of seasons off. You're fucking 7 feet tall. Right? Just rest. It's not like you're gonna lose your touch. You're 7 fucking feet tall. Yeah. And you're 28 years old. Right? Just sit down for a couple seasons and heal.
You know what it was, man? He putting all the muscle mass on broke his body. Probably. Like when you think of the Pelicans AD, when he was really wiry and skinny, putting up these massive numbers, he played like 60 plus games almost every season. Yeah. But he bulked up a lot. Yeah. Like when you compare AD from New Orleans to the Lakers, dude, they're two different bodies. Yeah. He's got like mad muscle up top now, right? And I think that really broke the body. And they did it properly. Like they did it slowly. They didn't just like, they didn't do what they did with Jermaine O'Neal back in the day. I remember Jermaine O'Neal was super wiry. And then next season he's like jacked. And then his body broke immediately. Yeah. But with AD, it was over a period of a few years.
What's his name? The big guy too, Greg, the guy that didn't make it, first round draft pick.
Odin?
Greg Oden.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. What a devastating bust.
He was so good in college.
Mm-hmm. And in the NBA when he played.
He was powerful, but then he put on that weight, right? And his knees couldn't handle it.
Fell apart.
It's always the knees. Like, look at Sean Bradley. Like, how did Sean Bradley make it? He stayed a stick man.
He did. He was a stick figure the whole time. Yeah.
Never put on any muscle.
Nope. Or size. No weight.
He's
nothing.
Jehovah's Witness.
Is he really?
Yeah. He travels around Australia.
That's so fucking awkward.
Knock, knock, knock. It's like, I want to come in and preach about Jehovah. Do you know a guy named Jehovah? I know a Jesus.
You God?
No. Jehovah. It's just like this fucking alien comes to your door.
So your finals pick is Phoenix and Brooklyn?
I don't know, man. I do want to say that, but I just have this feeling that the champs are going to do really well, man. I just have this feeling.
Oh, you got the Bucks.
I just have this feeling.
Okay.
Like I don't know what it is. You know what it is since sports is fixed and the NBA is completely fucking fixed and LeBron knows it is why he's just holding on for Bronny, who's not really that good.
This whole conversation was meaningless then.
Well, I just know it. Like, I know that they want to have storyline more than anything. That's why they're upset the Lakers aren't in it.
This sucks. I hate not seeing LeBron in the playoffs.
It's horrible.
Yeah, my favorite player.
It
I want to
makes
see
him
play.
feel. It makes him feel to me like I just watched before we came out here the YouTube about Jordan's last 3 minutes. He scored 45 in the final game against
Utah,
right? And I watched the push off on
Brian Russell,
right? Like
big time.
Brian, right? Like I watched that, and I'm like, man, Jordan wasn't old, you know.
No, he was
when
prime.
At that time, he was so good still.
Prime.
6th title, like he was just great, you know.
He could have went for 10.
Totally,
100%.
man. Like he could have stayed and trained that next season and gone. And I'm looking at LeBron. And I'm like, you know what? You're not gonna have that kind of exit. I just don't see it happening with him. I don't see him going out a champ, you know. And for some weird reason, I don't think that matters to him. Like I just don't think it matters.
I don't think it does either. I think in his mind, he's already done everything he needs to do and proven everything he needs to prove. And I think that's why he's at peace with that.
Yeah.
But I think he's got 4 years left.
Yeah.
4 solid contributing years left.
Yeah.
I see 2 more championships at the least.
Do you think he'll break 40,000 points?
100%. 100%. Dude, the
First
clip
man
he's
with
scoring now,
40,000?
it's nonsense. The fact that 37-year-old is averaging 30 points a game is nonsense.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen. It's never happened. Not even close to happening.
They weren't even talking about him for MVP this year.
Yeah, no, it was not. I mean, you really can't. The team was a failure.
You know who they didn't talk about for MVP this year, which was really disappointing, is Trae Young, man. Trae Young is assist leader this season.
Single-handedly made that team unique.
Yeah, he was like I think 5th in scoring. Like he's up there in almost every category.
Yeah,
this
he's a
year.
killer.
And he's about and I fear this is why I don't know if Brooklyn will make it because they are going to meet Atlanta in the second round.
Oh yeah,
first round or whatever it is. And man, Trae Young is a fucking New York.
he's an anomaly.
He hates New York and they hate
murders
him.
them.
And when he walks into Brooklyn, he
Yeah.
may shock the world.
I could see it. He's likely to go off. He's got that chip, but I think Chris Paul deserves MVP recognition.
Oh yeah.
Fucking rip off that he's not in the
Well,
conversation.
because he missed a bunch of games.
And even still, you don't do shit without Chris Paul. That team is not a winner without Chris Paul, bottom line. I would like to have Ja Morant's name at least mentioned as an MVP,
no.
but they can't because I think there was some stat that said like in the 14 games he didn't play, they won 12 of the 14.
Yeah.
So that team is built to win.
Yeah.
Period.
Great team. Could be the shocker team.
Interchangeable pieces all over the court.
Yeah, it's really good.
Magnificently built.
Never watched one game of theirs.
They're so entertaining, man. So entertaining. But yeah, I see Phoenix in the West in the finals. I want to say Miami in the East, and if that's the finals matchup,
be amazing.
Phoenix wins in 6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Easily.
Devin Booker's gonna be just outrageous and impossible to guard.
Good to be Devin Booker, man. Young black man or the Kardashian and
And
whatever else he has.
Dude,
on the
put in the
side.
work, man. He's putting in the
Make
work.
$100 million next
He was
season.
because he was pretty weak. You know, he got bullied. He got pushed around in the first few years. No one took him seriously. Like, it's a light-skinned dude we're going to smash every year.
Yeah.
He's gotten better. He's gotten stronger. He's gotten faster. He's developed unreal footwork. Studied Kobe like a scientist.
Yeah.
If you watch his game, it's fucking Kobe.
Yeah.
And before we get off the NBA topic, because we have to talk about one more thing for sure, we're not talking about the Bulls. You think they're easy out?
They lost too many games down the stretch. They've kind of the shine has fizzled from them a little bit, right?
For sure.
You know, what's his name?
DeMar?
DeMar DeRozan. I don't trust him.
You're scarred from Toronto days.
No, it isn't Toronto. There's something about his personality that just doesn't feel champion to me. Like it feels like
He's got mad anxiety, that guy.
is that what it is?
Yeah,
There's just
anxiety and
something-
depression. He's talked about it openly a lot.
Yeah, there's something about him that just doesn't. I don't see him hoisting the trophy. Like
You don't see a killer in him.
I don't see a killer in him, and I think that's the problem with him. I think he's one of those regular season gems that you can't turn it to the next level. in
You
the
think
playoffs.
that's his next level, the regular
I think
season?
Toronto saw that and knew that they had to get rid of
Stole
him too
Kawhi.
for that, right? And I think San Antonio
Brilliant
saw
play.
that,
Yeah.
right? San Antonio saw it too. He's shining in Chicago because they're starved for somebody great
The
in
alpha.
Chicago.
Yeah.
but he's just not that guy. And
So you think first round out?
So they're going to be playing. The 4 seed?
Yeah.
So they're going to be playing. Well, no, they're not playing Toronto.
No, they're not the 4th seed. Philly's a 4th seed.
4 seed.
Toronto's 5th seed.
So
Maybe they're 6th.
Maybe 6 seed.
I think they might be 6th because then they're playing whoever 3rd seed
Milwaukee.
is. Oof,
Right. So
that's tough.
that could be tough, man. Right. Like I just don't see them killing. I see a sweep. I see a
Oof.
sweep for Chicago. It's just unfortunate, right?
First round out.
Yeah, they're just when you lose that much at the end of the season, it's not a good sign.
No momentum.
It's not a good sign, man. Who's their coach, by the way?
In Chicago?
Yeah, exactly, right. Like,
Yeah, fuck. Who is their coach?
I don't know. Scott
I think it's
Giles?
that dude that coached
Tyronn Lue?
OKC for a few years.
Billy Donovan.
Billy Donovan.
Is it really
I think he's the coach.
gone?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be a good
Playing
playoffs.
tournament was fun. So
It'll be good
some
playoffs.
good
And
games.
just to mention one more thing about basketball, I'm getting my I'm good. I got some ankle I got some ankle supports.
nice.
I got
nice.
some lifts now for
Well,
my
let me
shoes.
know when you're ready, man.
Yeah,
We'll
I'm
get
gonna
out there.
and
Shoot around a little bit.
Yeah, I got to learn how to dribble again. I got to get my bearings back.
Shake the rust off a little bit.
Right, yeah, I got to get some back. Got a basketball game here
Nice. I see that.
for the business.
Yeah, if y'all want to reach out and come play some ball
Yeah.
with High Phrase, let us
Yeah.
know, man. I'm definitely down to shoot around and
Shoot
get out
on
a little
too.
bit. But yeah, we had there's some tragedy we have to speak on before we get out of here.
Let's do it. And on a good note.
Yeah, it's fucking darkness. New York City subway today experienced a mass shooting. And the crazy part to me, which I find unacceptable, is there's not a single camera anywhere
Really?
in that subway station. Not
Like,
one.
there isn't one?
There's not.
How do they
one
catch
single
people getting
camera.
pushed onto the track then?
So
all the
there,
time?
most of the areas of the subway station have it. This area of the subway station has no cameras.
Crazy.
So a guy walks in with a orange vest, opens fire
Insanity.
into crowds.
Yeah.
14 people. At the time that I read last, 14 people were shot.
Yeah.
They had not talked about casualties at that time. There might be now. There may not be.
Wow.
And they found a whole bunch of smoke grenades that were not detonated throughout the station.
Crazy.
And they reported explosive devices that were also not detonated found
So
throughout
they
the station.
intended pure carnage, like crazy carnage. Do they
Mass
identify the
casualties.
person? Like
Not yet.
race,
Nope.
looks,
Nope.
nothing.
No, I would. There were witnesses that saw
Yeah.
a person doing it,
Yeah.
but I'm guessing they
Masked
just don't
up.
have info yet
Yeah.
because it's just too much chaos.
Wow.
Yeah. Horrifying stuff.
Scary.
America experiences mass shootings almost on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why we're still at this place where they don't talk about changing gun laws.
Yeah, it's like fucking damn Constitution.
It's fucking gross.
It's that damn Constitution, or 1800 and whatever. Fuck. The Constitutions are meant to be changed.
It has to be. It's a fucking document.
If you go to like a strata meeting at your condo, they have constitutions, which are the strata. Those things change all the time.
All the
according
time.
to rules and regulations of the city and the people
Yeah,
and all that.
yeah.
I don't understand why they can't just change it. I don't understand why they can't update it. Like, just update it.
Like, dude, it was written at a time where it was okay to keep humans captive as slaves.
Yeah.
So if that was okay at the time, and it's not okay now, then the document that was written at the time should not be okay now.
it shouldn't.
And I don't understand how fucking stuck these morons are in their ways
Part of their
that they're gonna allow mass carnage. The fact that teachers have to be taught what to do in a active shooter situation is fucked up.
crazy.
The fact that kids have to know where to hide when a shooter shows up is fucking bonkers.
Crazy. Imagine being a kid in the States and
Wouldn't you always be scared?
you'd be totally scared. You'd always want to be nice to the nerds.
Right?
You're like, oh, there's a dark kid. Well, let's fucking bring him in. Let's, bring him to the party. Show him some love, because he may one day be the guy you're looking down the barrel at, and he goes, you were nice to me. Thank
Dude, the only thing that we were scared of as kids was the fire drill
Yeah.
and the earthquake drill.
Earthquake drill, yeah.
We heard stop, drop, and roll so much.
Yeah.
I thought I'd see it at least once in school.
Yeah.
I never saw someone catch on fire.
Never.
But you had a healthy respect and fear of fire because we were taught to prepare just in case shit happened and there was a fire, what the fuck to do. And we were prepared to know what to do in an earthquake. That makes sense.
Yeah.
We're on a fault line. It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But why the fuck should you have to prepare to know what to do if a shooter shows up?
Well, you know, it's part of the rule. Even my friend Jesse, who moved down to Portland, he's like, he was a street fighter. We're all fighters as kids.
Oh, we've
growing
talked to Jesse before
We've
on
talked to
iPhrase,
Jesse
right?
on the podcast, and you know, he's like, buddy, you don't fight in the States. Like, if someone lips you off, you can't. There's no fist fight and everything's fine. He goes, someone's getting shot.
Damn.
He's like, it's a reality. People are carrying guns all the time, and he's just like, what do you do? Like,
So
you don't like
fucked up.
since he's lived in the States, he's had no fights because people are packing. It's just it's something we have to get rid of, and I know it's gonna sound old manish, but you gotta get rid of video games, dude.
Oh, don't say that.
You gotta get rid of video games.
I love video games.
Yeah, but when you're 10 years old and you're shooting people, it creates that image in your mind that maybe doing this for real would be awesome.
Maybe for some people, maybe for weak-minded people.
But those are the people that do it.
And those people need, and see, every time we go, it's so funny how every time we go, it goes back to parents and their accountability in this. Parents have to be accountable, man. There has to be something that says if your kid ends up being a fucking disaster that wants to murder people, as a parent, you fucked up somewhere. Because murderers are a small group. Fucked up people, there's a large group of them, but they're not murdering people.
Yeah.
You can be fucked up and not kill people, right? Yeah. But the small group of murderers, there has to be, like, where were you as a parent? Where were you?
Yeah.
How did the kid get a gun?
Yeah.
Right? Kyle Rittenhouse is another example. That's fucked up parenting. That would say, hey, mom, can I get a gun so we can go to this place of protest and maybe shoot somebody?
Yeah.
That's some fucked up parenting.
That's craziness.
If your kid's a school shooter, as a parent, you fucked up.
Yeah.
You should know whether or not your kid has a gun.
Yeah.
I know whether or not my kid has weed.
Yeah.
It's a fucking plant. But I know. Yeah. Because as a parent, be invasive. Go through your kid's shit.
Yeah.
Invade their privacy. Parents like, oh no, we can't do that. Kids gotta have their privacy. Fuck their privacy.
Yeah, but all these guns are their parents' guns generally.
And if you are paying attention to your kid, you would know if your fucking gun is missing.
You would think, yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, if
Just
you're
sitting on a
at
counter?
work, you're at work, and you know the kid comes home and grabs the gun. Like how these school shooters, you always hear like the parents are not there.
And the kids are loners and dark. Yeah. Okay, now without getting too far deep into this, okay, I think you should know when your kid's going through shit.
You should know.
You're not always gonna know. But your kid's vibe that they give you, the energy that they give you, you should know when shit's fucked up. You should know when there's been a change or an alteration in the personality or something is not what it normally is. And if you don't act on that, you fucked up as a parent.
Yeah, I agree.
There are certain things that my kids have gone through and I know something's fucked up. Yeah. And I'll pry and press and push and eventually they want to talk about it. They just don't know how to bring it up. And you may not like what the fuck they want to talk about. And I think that's a part of the reason parents don't get too far in because they don't want to hear.
Well, and they're not experienced to talk to their kids, right? Like
And dude, neither am I. I grew up in a fucking harsh household, man.
Yeah, you care.
That's the difference. You have to care when you have kids, man. You fucking have to. Yeah. You got to step up. You got to be the person that says, you know what, I'm going to be the parent. If you have a significant other that doesn't want to, you have to be that person, whether you're the mother or the father. In my household, we're very lucky, even though me and Rosie aren't together, we're both very committed parents.
Yeah.
And we both create very special relationships with our kids. They both have a safe place to go to on both sides. Yeah. And as a parent, if you see your significant other slipping, you got to step up.
Yeah.
You got to step up, man. We're creating kids that become adults in this world. That's a big fucking ask.
It's a big task, man. Raising a person.
Huge.
It's crazy.
And do it right.
Maybe they need to just flesh wound kids. Right? Like, as soon as you see your kid getting on it, you're like, you know what? I'm going to give him a flesh wound. And so he knows, like, holy fuck, that fucking hurt. Like,
yeah.
You know, just like how I learned about pets. Like, learn about guns. Like, don't shoot me. See? You know, you see how that hurts? Don't go shooting up your school. You're going to cause that. You want to do that to people? No. Okay, go wrap that shit.
Or shameless plug, join an MMA gym.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Train MMA with your kids. Yeah. Show them on other people how you can fuck them up.
Yeah. Beat the people with your hands, not with...
And your kids will see you fucking up an adult and think to themselves, oh, shit. I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
Let's not make my parents that mad where they want to fuck me up.
Yeah, and I think like also these kids that shoot up schools, they need to grab them and not just take them away and put them in jail. They need to take them back to the school where they did this and put them in a situation where it's fucking really painful.
Oof.
Right? Like, don't hide them in prison and
Goosebumps.
take them back to the school that they shot up in assembly in the middle of a gym, right? And fucking have them sit there and listen to, right? Like, that's torture.
Relive the crime.
Relive it. And have all the kids beat on his ass. Take the MMA kids out of the crowd and have them beat that fucking kid's ass. And then any kid that's a shooter will be like, holy fuck, that sucked. I would not
never gonna do that.
Right? I'm never doing that. Oh my God, it was so embarrassing.
Wow.
Put him on TikTok and on social media and watch him get clowned in front of the whole school. No kid will ever want to go through that humiliation on TikTok.
Fucking amazing. On that note, priceless lessons learned on High Phrase today.
That's what we do, kids.
Fucking amazing.
Turning kids into men, turning boys into men, and women into presidents.
Phenomenal.
Also, speaking about women, Miss Amore, what's her name?
Rosanna Carbone.
Carbon.
Yes.
You got your shit.
High Phrase gift pack coming your way.
We got it. We'll just mail it out to you. You live all the way in the middle of nowhere, but that's okay. We're going to get it to you.
Make sure you jump onto the Instagram at High Phrase Podcast. Exclusive content that we only have on the Instagram.
Yeah.
So make sure you follow that page. Mine
the
is
live episodes going.
It looks fucking amazing.
Does it
You
look
did a
good?
great job.
Yeah, we're going to get it out. Like,
Ooh, so exciting.
this will be coming out tomorrow, and we'll get this whatever live out whenever you drop
Yeah,
it.
so make sure highphrase.com. The goal is to have you go to highphrase.com, drop your email, subscribe to the YouTube page, which is also High Phrase Podcast. Follow the Instagram, which is at High Phrase Podcast. We wouldn't make this exclusive content to share with people that actually give a shit about what we're doing. I think that's the most important thing.
Yes.
People that care about what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we got some great fucking stuff coming for you guys very, very soon.
Yeah. Do we have guests next week yet?
We do have a guest next week.
Fucking sweet.
Yeah. And we're going to be lining up some legends of the Lower Mainland for you guys to witness. I'm really excited.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's dope.